Abstract: this paper is an analysis of chapter 23 verses 12 to 14 of the Quran in light of modern embryology. This study will provide a linguistic breakdown of the relevant verses and correlate these linguistic items to established facts in the field of embryology. To ensure a comprehensive understanding of this study, an overview of Quranic exegesis will be provided to appreciate how the Quran is made accessible and intelligible to the reader. This study will also address various contentions which attempt to challenge the credibility of the Quranic discourse and its concurrence with modern embryology. Among these responses will be a refutation of the ancient Greek alaqah plagiarism thesis. This thesis maintains that Hellenic embryology was the source of the Quran's, and by extension, the Prophet Muhammad's, medical knowledge. In chapter 23 verses 12 to 14, the Quran provides 8 meaningful points describing the process of the developing human embryo. We created man from an essence of clay, then we placed him as a drop of fluid in a safe place. Then we made that drop of fluid into a clinging form. And then we made that form into a lump of flesh. And we made that lump into bones, and we clothed those bones with flesh. And later we made him into other forms. Glory be to God, the best of creators. 1. At first glance, the English translation of the Quran's embryonic description seems uninvolved and simplistic. However, as this study will show through linguistic analysis of the Arabic Quran, each word conveys a depth of meaning that, upon closer look, correlates staggeringly to established reality. What is the Quran? Linguistically, the word Quran means reading and came to be referred to as the text which is read. The Quran also calls itself al-Kitab, which lexically implies a written book. Thus, the significance of writing, reading, and reflecting upon the Quran has been emphasized from the very beginning of Islam. The Quranic material is divided into suwar too, meaning chapters in Arabic. According to the historian Philip Heady, the collected written text of the Quran is one of the youngest epoch-making books and the most widely read book ever written. 3. The Quran is the supreme authority in Islam, as it is the fundamental and essential source of the Islamic creed, ethics, laws, and guidance. For Muslims, the Quran is of divine origin. It is the speech of the Creator and not the word of the Prophet Muhammad. Rather, it was revealed to him, and through him to mankind, in word and meaning. Az-Zarqani, a 9th century scholar of the Quran, summarizes the description of the book. He writes, "The Quran is the Arabic speech of God, which he revealed to Muhammad in wording and meaning, and which has been preserved in the compiled written pages of the Quran, and has reached us by recurrent reporting. 5. The science of Quranic exegesis. The Quran, like any other legislative and spiritual book, requires exegesis. Quranic exegesis, known as tafsir in Arabic, is essentially the knowledge through which one increases an understanding of the Quran and a comprehension of its commandments and wisdom. 6. Quranic exegesis is a branch of knowledge dealing with the method of the delivery of the words of the Quran, their interpretation, their individual and composite forms, and expediencies. 7. It is this science by which the Quran is understood, its meanings explained, and its rulings derived. Thus, the Quran is made accessible and intelligible to the reader. What follows are the main sources of Quranic exegesis used by exegetes to interpret the Quran. The Quran. The first source of exegesis is the Quran itself. Many verses in the Quran complement and clarify the meaning of other verses. 8. This use of intertextuality is considered significant in the study of linguistics. 9. The following is an example of the Quran explaining itself through relevant verses. A. The path of those you have favored is here unexplained, but then elaborated upon in a verse elsewhere in the Quran 10 sola below. B. Those whom God has favored, such as the prophets, loyal persons, martyrs, and honorable men. How fine are such companions. 11.2. The prophetic traditions, the second source, is the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad 12. The Quran often mentions the Prophet's role of expounding upon the Quran in word and deed. 13:3. The statements of the companions, the third source, is the explanations of the companions of the Prophet, who learnt the Quran directly from him. Many of them devoted their entire lives to studying the Quran, its exegesis and related knowledge. 14:4. The Arabic language, another source of exegesis, is the Arabic language in which the Quran was revealed. The Arabic language is used as a tool to analyze verses if the other sources do not offer an interpretation. Science in the Quran's relationship with science has been discussed for centuries, with scholars debating whether to use science as an exegetical tool to elucidate its meanings. The 14th century scholar al-Shatibi disputes the claim that the Quran includes knowledge of the natural sciences. He argues that the Quran is a religious book which is mainly focused on the manifestation of the divine will in the human sphere of existence. Al-Shatibi writes, "Many people have overstepped all bounds and made undue claims about the Quran when they assigned to it all types of knowledge of the past and the present, such as the natural sciences, mathematics, and logic. 15. Conversely, the 11th century theologian and philosopher, Al-Ghazali, asserts that although the Quran doesn't present scientific details, it does provide the metaphysical framework to understand science. Al-Ghazali views the Quran as providing the foundations to all types of knowledge. For example, he states that all knowledge is implied in the signs and indications in the Quran 16, and in his book The Jewels of the Quran he argues that the principles of various sciences are not outside the divine book. 17. Al-Ghazali's views are substantiated by the mainstream scholarly perspective that the Quran is an intrusive text that seeks to engage with the inner dimensions of man. Communicative strategies employed by the Quran to achieve this include the technique of asking questions and referring to signposts to God. These signposts include the innumerable wonders that can be seen in the natural world, such as the planets orbiting the sun, the stars, the alternation of the night and day, the various animals and insects, and the intricacies of our own psychological and physiological development. In this context, there are an estimated 750 verses concerning science and natural phenomena. 18. Science, as defined by the philosopher Bertrand Russell, is the attempt to discover, by means of observation and reasoning based upon it, particular facts about the world and the laws connecting facts with one another. 19. Although there is no consensus over the definition of science, it seems that Russell's definition, when applied to the Quran, offers an array of verses pointing to scientific study. Some examples include, "And who created all things and made them to an exact measure. 20. We shall show them our signs in every region of the earth and in themselves, until it becomes clear to them that this is the truth. 21. There truly are signs in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alternation of the night and day, for those with understanding. 22. In the creation of the heavens and earth, in the alternation of the night and day, in the ships that sail the seas with goods for people, in the water which God sends down from the sky to give life to the earth when it has been barren, scattering all kinds of creatures over it, in the changing of the winds and clouds that run their appointed courses. Between the sky and earth, there are signs in all of these for those who use their minds. 23. This, however, does not imply the Quran is a book of science. Rather, it is a book of ayat, which is commonly interpreted as verses and linguistically conveys various meanings, such as sign, proof, evidence, and miracle. 24. Thus, the Quranic verses pertaining to the natural world are not intended to provide detailed descriptions of nature. Rather, they are meant to encourage thinking and reflection. Commenting on this, Professor of Philosophy Shabir Akhtar, in his book The Quran and the Secular Mind, A Philosophy of Islam, writes, "Nature's flawless harmonies and the delights and liabilities of our human environment with its diverse and delicate relationships are invested with religious significance. Created nature is a cryptogram of a reality which transcends it. Nature is a text to be deciphered.